And we are sure, just start recording, that's it. Right?
Yep.
Okay.
Welcome to my world.
Yeah.
That I lived in.
I'd like to call the February 23rd, 2026 Bold Board of Education regular meeting to order at 7 p.m. Our roll call, we have all members present, so we have a quorum of all members. We'll begin our meeting with the recitation of the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, so would a member
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as published.
I'll second it.
All right. Member Asseth has moved and member Frank has seconded the approval of the agenda as published. I'd like to just make a note to everybody that we're doing things just a little different on policies that we'll be releasing on a one and done reading. You'll see that in this month, there's 6 of them this month that they're just very small tweaks, verbiage changes. We're just going to put them all together as a single motion as opposed to doing them individually. If we see a need to, we'll break them out and have them as a separate item. Is there any other discussion? Any other discussion? All right, hearing no discussion, we'll move to vote to approve the agenda as published. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. I'd like to take a moment to welcome all of our attendants who are online, as well as quite a number of students and other individuals we have here today. I'd also like to extend a warm appreciation to Mr. Jim Lindahl with the Institute of Environmental Assessment, who will address the board later in the new business portion of our meeting. So we're now moving to the public forum portion of our school board meeting where district constituents can address the board. Is there anybody here tonight who would like to address the board? Yes. Could you feel free to come forward and state your name and
I'm Katie Ball. I'm representing the REACH program. We were asked by the admin to come talk to you guys. If you don't know the REACH program, we stand for Relationships, Education, Accountability, Character, and Hard Work. This is a program that was started in Hutchinson about 20 years ago. And 3 years ago, we were fortunate enough to bring it here to Bold. I started with 6 kids in one class. I now have 3 hours and 42 plus kids. And I have a waiting list. I probably could expand if I had more hours in my day. I have a lot of my students here representing us today. My goal this year has been to tie us with the community more, and so we have Andrew Peltz. I work with Restorative Justice. He comes twice a month to work with us. Where's Carly? Carly over there. She is out of Central Minnesota Jobs Training, comes and works with my senior high kids once a month. We also work with Bearcat Coaching. I have a sponsor in the community who sponsors I give birthday cake kits to all of our kids so they can take home a birthday cake because we found some of our students don't have birthday cakes when they have to celebrate birthdays. I work with Traditions. We work very close with Traditions, do a lot of events with Traditions and working with the elderly there. But I do have a couple students who you'd probably rather hear from on the impact of the program than me.
So I'm Destiny Anderson.
could I have you come stand up here in the front? I apologize, and come on forward so the camera picks you up.
All right. So I'm Destiny Anderson. I'm a senior with the REACH program. This year's my first year, but I mean, I thought I might as well just try it for my senior year, and it has done a lot more for me than I thought it would. I have been able to step out of my comfort zone and be able to expand my supervised agricultural experience through FFA, which is rural mental health awareness, and I'm able to talk with Mrs. Ball's middle schoolers in her intro to high school. So, and I feel like that has helped me and the students that I've impacted a lot more. And it's just been able to help me get out of my comfort zone and make the connections with the community, everybody in the school, and just helps me stay caught up in a way.
Thank you for sharing.
I'm Eric Busso. Reach is one of those programs that's helped me go a long ways. I started last year. I didn't know where to go, honestly. Life was, I didn't know what to do. So I saw Reach from a friend and decided to try out. And it's helped a lot. I have another friend that's in Reach that is getting help. And we learn these things that make you be a better person overall. And I think people should just try it for one year. Give it a chance and you might like it. Traditions. Helping people at traditions is just really fun. They have fun, we have fun. There's K through 6, a couple kids that come hang out with us. They have a blast in our class. They talk about it with other students in their grade, and it makes them really happy. So if it can make them happy, I think it can make others happy.
Thank you.
If any of you ever have questions, please, I send data reports to Missy every semester about our recorder on our goals and if we've achieved our goals, and I keep a lot of data. So if you ever have questions, please ask myself. Mr. Cruz is in there with me every day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, Andrew, Carly, do you want to say anything?
You're welcome to.
I can. Hi, my name is Carly from Central Minnesota Jobs and Training Services. I come and talk to the REACH program once a month roughly. And honestly, what I have just seen from an outside person, aside from being able to educate and provide resources and stuff myself, it's amazing to me to see the dynamic. These kids are actually learning life skills. They're learning what it means to go from a high schooler to an adult. And these skills are so valuable for our future. So I'm personally honored. I'm so honored to be a part of REACH and just be here and be helpful and learn the kids, see the kids. It's great. So thank you.
Thank you.
2 cents? Sure. Keep it short. Usually long-winded. Which is why I sit in circles for a living. So hello, my name is Andrew Peltz. I'm the Restorative Justice Coordinator for Renville County. Been around since 2018, but been in the work since 2014. Over the last decade, it's been very clear to me of just where do we house our kids? 90% of the time, it's in our schools. And to be a part of a solution, to be part of a proactive program that's helping kids get on the right track and stay on the right track, as opposed to meeting them 3 to 6 months after a crime has been committed and then working on it on the back end. It's been amazing to be a part of, and where better than within the schools, within a program like REACH, to help be a part of that within this community. So I look forward to spending any Friday here. Tell the kids in circles often that it's kind of the highlight of the week, and couldn't be happier to be here. So in short, I'll keep it at that, but it's been great to be a part of and really appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll keep mine short. I just want to thank all of you and our administration for giving us a shot to do this program. I think it probably started, 8-10 years ago, probably, where we first toured the program in Hutchinson. Absolutely, we fell in love with it, and we just couldn't pull it off. And thanks to Missy to really coming back and fighting for us when we came back after that visit. She was so into what we were doing, and we were lucky to have Mrs. Ball to allow her to be able to get in to do what she's doing. There's no way it could happen without her. I'm just glad to be a part of it, to help support it and help the mental health needs of our students. This program is so great. I think we could double the size of it if we could. But we've only got so many people and so many resources. But I thank all of you and our administration for supporting this so much. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Do any of our other students have anything they'd like to say? Thank you for being here and supporting your classmates.
Does the board have any questions for anybody here on this?
Sounds to be just an impressive program.
Yes. And how long have you been working towards, or how long have you been working on this program here?
We're on year 3. So the first year we just did the spring semester, and then last year a full year, and now this is our second full year. So we're on year 3. And as I said, we started 1 class, 6, and now we're at 42 or 43 kids, 7, 12. And then, as Eric said, we do have what we call our honorary REACH kids who get to come visit us sometime from the elementary that absolutely adore it.
And I apologize if I didn't catch it when you first spoke. What age groups?
We are right now 7 through 12.
7 through 12. Okay. Well, thank you for all of you who presented.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for helping out and doing what you do. Thank you.
Sounds like a wonderful program. Is there anyone else who would like to present to the board this evening? Anyone else? All right, hearing none, we will transition into our consent items. For the approval of our consent items, only one motion is required. The consent items we're approving consist of board checks, board of wires, the January 26th budget, construction, and operations reports, minutes for the January 26, 2026 regular school board meeting, and approval of personnel changes. Would a member move to approve the consent items as published in the board packet?
I so move.
Is there a second?
A second.
Member Klaus has moved and member Zimmerman has seconded the approval of the consent items. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? Hearing no discussion, we'll vote to approve the consent items as presented. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries. All right, I'd like to invite Superintendent Talaka to present the superintendent report at this time.
Thanks, Greg. We all know we've got our Lady Warriors playing tonight here over there in Bird Island in their first playoff game, girls basketball. We got the supportive shirt here. They're the West Central champions, and yeah, we wish them well tonight. If we get out of here early enough, maybe
Sneak over.
yeah. I'd like to start off with some gratitude. Our activities director, Derek Flan, he's been really helpful throughout this renovation, and as I've started here, as somebody who's been around for a while, he's really taken on the facilitating of moving things around to different spaces so that construction and renovation can continue while we're still in school. He's come up with a list of things that need to go where, when, dates, all that. I call them Derek's list of needs. and he's been helpful with that. And also the spring play. We got Deb Ziller here tonight, and we've been trying to figure out how we can logistically possibly get a spring play going to piggyback off the momentum of the second place regional one-act play award and kind of keep that momentum going. Spring baseball, we're going to be using Dirks, yeah. And another one, I can't remember the name, but it's going to require a lot of work on our part. We're going to have to drag that 4 days out of 5 days a week. Maybe drive the Kubota over there. We're trying to figure that out, and we're going to be doing some of the bathroom cleanup too, working with the city. And so that's been some extra things that are coming up. And then getting that activities advisory committee together, that's a work in progress, but I believe they're meeting
Wednesday.
Wednesday, yeah. Yep, and then chess club. Chess club's it's been going on all year. Tuesdays after school, Parker Riviere came to me last summer and asked if he could volunteer to lead that, and I said, oh yeah, and he's been doing it. And it's not just chess club. There's 20 to 30 elementary school age kids in the cafeteria every Tuesday for an hour and a half. And he's got all of their names and their stats in a computer program. And he gets them all paired up. And before they play, they shake hands. He's teaching them proper etiquette. And when they finish, the winner comes and brings a card over to the table with the computer, and their name gets entered, and their chess rating gets adjusted accordingly, depending on whether it was a win, loss, or draw. And so they always all know what their ratings are. It's very official. Parker takes it very seriously, and so do those kids. A lot of fourth graders. Just wanted to.
How long does the match last, typically?
About 10-15 minutes. I end up volunteering because my son also goes there, and yeah, it's a pretty good turnout, and the kids are really good at it. They even kids who don't know how to play, kind of some of the older kids will help teach them. So it's a really good program that I've seen there.
Yeah, I saw a grandpa walk in there and kind of watch, and you know, the elementary teachers walk by, and Chris, and wow, all right. Yeah, it's a cool thing to see. And it's growing, he's hoping to expand it too, maybe have a separate day just for high school. The bus drivers once again saved the day. They drove our students in some pretty sketchy weather conditions. Visibility was kind of off and on. I think that was last Wednesday. Yeah, you know, it's their job and they are paid to do it. But it's a big responsibility. It takes courage and determination to be willing to do that, and so they deserve a lot of gratitude. And the cooks too. I mean, we could send those kids off without lunch, but our cooks know that a lot of those kids are going to be going to some kind of a daycare situation where they may or may not have lunch waiting for them, and so they make sure that at least the pre-K through 6th grade kids had some kind of a lunch, and so they also have to take whatever they're going to serve for hot lunch and preserve it, and then get out of the kitchen themselves in time. So they deserve a lot of gratitude as well. General updates, still working on the district advisory committee. Met with Chris and Missy to talk about teachers and students that we might want to approach, and so I have a good short list, so I'm working on that. We have a couple parents that we'll be reaching out to as well. And then, Day at the Capitol's coming up. There's a lot going on. Things look good on paper. Lawmakers draw up proposals, and it's our job as school leaders to go to the Capitol on Capitol Day to make sure that legislators know what these proposed laws, these proposed changes mean and how they're going to affect our students in education. One of those, the big ones, is ADSIS possibly being on the chopping block, special education transportation possibly being on the chopping block. Those would have devastating effects for student achievement, all over the state. And now, as you'll see pretty soon in the legislative update, there's a proposal for a pretty serious compensatory aid reduction as well that's affecting everyone. Speaking of which, legislative updates, proposed compensatory aid reduction. I have a link there that has a map of Minnesota with counties that are color coded according to what percentage of compensatory aid you're gonna lose. Renville County is red. That's not good to be red.
Tim, I don't know if you're aware, but Senator Andrew Lane, who represents our district essentially, he was assigned again to the Education Finance Committee at the state level.
Yeah. Yeah, I was aware of that, and I actually talked to him on the phone a while back. He was thinking about possibly coming to take a look at our renovation. Yeah, well, it would be good if we could get his voice on our side on that one. And then I just I put some definition on there for people who might not be experts on school finance. Then facilities updates. The construction updates are linked to my superintendent report, but one thing we're always kind of discovering certain things are coming up here and there, but we recently realized that our financial oversight costs were not built into the referendum. And so Baker Tilly is doing our financial oversight, so they're looking into that, and they're going to be emailing me a summary of what happened there and what we can do about that. We have a $3 million CD that matures tomorrow, and that's being rolled over into a 26-week CD at 3.51%, which is the best we could find. And we had Hometown Bank looking and Mike Garrity looking, and that's what we got. So that'll mature around the time the renovation is scheduled to end, so that's nice to have. We are also looking at possibly making some cuts in the scheduled renovation to help free up some more money to pay for extra costs of abatement. Some of the things we've been discussing are the restrooms in the southeast corner. If we didn't put those restrooms in, we would save over $200,000. And by not putting those restrooms in, that would mean football games and track meets would have to continue to use porta potties. But it would result in us keeping an extra classroom, which is never a bad thing to have more classroom space. So that's one of the things we're proposing. Yeah, we're taking a look at the allowances, and I'm looking at that with Chris and Missy and Derek and Will. Yeah, and then yeah, we got wrestlers going to state. We got Ava Kiker and we got Trey and Edgar heading to state, so we have them to cheer on. And then last thing, I'm thinking of starting a book club. So looking at the books here, I was an English teacher for 23 years, kind of a book snob. I see a lot of books that I think are essential missing, but why get the books if people aren't going to read them? So I'm hoping that if if I start a book club, students will want to join and read outside of their homework and extracurricular activities for fun and get together and have hardcore literary discussions. So spread the word. It's coming. That's all I got.
Thank you. I'd like to invite Principal Krafka to discuss pre-K through 6 principal report.
Good evening. I have a short report, I think. So I'll try to keep it short. So I added some data in there about our FastBridge results. It's not all fantastic. This is, I neglected to write on here that it was for reading. It's not for math. But you can see the percentages there. Those are the students that are meeting the benchmarks. Kindergarten, 87%. When I talked about this earlier today at our admin meeting, Superintendent Ted Lacka had a good question about the kindergarten number being so high. So I did go back and look at the fall scores. They did come in high. They came in at 77% in the fall. So even though they came in at 77%, rose to 87%, which I think is really good. And that says a lot for our preschool program. So hats off to them. They've made some curricular changes in the last year, and I think it's setting up our kids up for success. First, second, third, about half of our students are not or are meeting the benchmarks. And so we are doing some shifting of our instructional practices. One of the instructional practice changes is during our WIN time. So WIN stands for what I need. And then the other change is happening during our phonics or morphology time. So those teams met together. We had great conversation, met with a little bit of resistance, but continued to talk through it. And I think that we came up with a really good plan for how we can move those kids forward. We have an additional testing platform that we use for 4 through 12, which is why we are still digging into that data for 4 through 6, as far as from the elementary side. We have book bingo coming up on the 16th. At 5 o'clock we'll have a meal and then bingo after that. Kindergarten registration is a little bit earlier this year than last, March 18th, which is a Wednesday. End of the quarter, we have a spelling bee winner. So Brady was our local winner, went on to compete at the regional level and walked away with 3rd place at the regional level. So yay to Brady, who did a great job. Paras went through some training on the Friday the 13th, the day that we did not have students. We have all but one para that's trained, or not trained rather. So she was a late hire and she will finish her training this week. And so that is part of the READ Act. So they are trained in the science of reading and all of the parts that they can do to support the students in reading. Walking away from that, I did get a lot of positive feedback from those paras about how meaningful that professional learning was for them. So recess, we've got some challenges happening there. We're working on a plan to try to combat some of that. And then we have the school sealant program also in March. So March is a very busy month. Pictures on the back, those are fun. Any questions?
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
All right, Principal Bodine, would you mind sharing for your report through 7 through 12?
Sure. I attended the Minnesota Association of Secondary School Principals Convention in the end of July. No, July. It's not July.
We're
end of January. Oh my gosh. It was very good. I heard one of the best speakers I've ever heard in my life. One of our keynotes. I want to get him here. I don't know how I'm going to do that yet, but I will. But I also attended a session on high quality CTE, and my brain has been in CTE ever since. My brain is always kind of there, but we haven't really made the move. We've been getting some other programs going. You heard from Reach. They are thriving. It's a program that's so embedded now at Bold, I can't imagine it not being here. And I want to have the same thing for our CTE coming up. So those of you on the CTE committee, you'll be hearing from me. We need to do some work. And I have the new Minnesota career clusters, and I can hand you guys all a sheet at the end so you can kind of see what we're looking at. CTE is so much more than a few cooking classes and a few shop classes. We have a long way to go. I know, Greg, we've talked about a couple things, and you know, it fits right in here, but we're looking at healthcare, we're looking at education, and these are all things that we have in our community, businesses, when we look more into ag and some of those things. So I'm super excited for that. Knowing that we can't do it all at once, that's what I always want to do, but we need to start building for over the next couple years. We are also adding another college class opportunity, credit opportunity for students. Hopefully by the beginning of next year, if not maybe at semester time, but in the ag department. So Andy has started the process for credentialing, so we can offer, next year we'll be able to offer college credit for a health and phy-ed class that Jen Yonke will be teaching, as well as an ag class. So that is super exciting. The high school will start their training on the READ Act. And our requirements, we are required to have our staff trained by July of 2027. We'll be ahead of that, and we'll be done hopefully by maybe mid-year next year. And we'll be training our entire high school staff, which I don't know how many other school districts are doing that or say that they can do that, but our staff is committed, and I'm excited for that. They also, in our last PLC, which was something that the board had committed to a couple years ago, giving us the Wednesday afternoons once a month for training, and our staff in their groups did their presentations on the work that they've been doing over the last year, and it just led to some excellent discourse, and I am so excited to see where they're heading. They talked a lot about some of the rigor that used to be in things. For instance, a long time ago, if students didn't pass their MCA, it affected possible graduation. Our policy doesn't read that way now, but the handbook still states that. So seniors would have had to, if they didn't pass the math class or the math MCA in their junior year, they would have to take a math class their senior year to show that they were making progress. So it was interesting to hear some of those things that used to be in place that are not in place anymore. So that led to some really good discussion about what a Bold diploma means and what that looks like going forward. We do have our reading assessments complete. We have not reviewed the data at this point. That will be coming. We've had a lot of staff and students out with different sicknesses. I'm pretty sure influenza A has been making the rounds. But this week we're seeming to hang in there pretty good so far. But it's just Monday, I guess. So those are the big things I have. If you guys have any questions.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, moving on to our activities reports. If anybody has any questions, be sure to reach out to Derek Flan on that. Any discussion on the community education reports? Once again, reach out to Ms. Oseth if you have any questions. Food service, any discussion? Okay. I think there's 2 attachments on the pool report as well. Is there any questions or discussion there?
We have not had a pool meeting yet this quarter. It's going to be scheduled.
Yeah. Facilities reports. Tim, would you like to touch base a little bit on that?
I missed that in my
Yeah, right.
Yeah, we would like to start an open bid process for our lawn service. And the first step of doing that is bringing that up to the board, that we're going to do that process. And then on the link there is the description of what the scope of work, yeah, so the board can take a look at that and see if that looks like it's missing something, or if you have any questions about it, talk to me or Brandon. But we hope to get something in place for this coming spring.
So once we get bids, that'll come to the board for approval, I would assume.
Right, it would
correct?
come to the board for approval.
Okay.
No, they would have to have all their own equipment on this.
Yep, their own equipment, their own
insurance.
Insurance has to follow certain guidelines.
Yeah, you might want to list the insurance bonding requirements that they have to provide.
Yeah, I can help you for the scope of work.
That would be great.
Yeah.
We're kind of
Look a
looking
little-
at the last contract to build a frame of reference, but yeah, that'd be great. You live in the contract world.
I do that every day.
Yeah.
Any other questions, Evan? All right, moving on to committee reports. Were there any committee meetings this past month anybody can share on or would like to share on?
Finance committee did meet. We looked at potential budget for fiscal 27, kind of getting started. We also looked at some existing or potential contract agreements and suggestions on where Tim can look for changes to keep our costs down and contained.
For the co-op.
Yep.
Contract, yeah.
And trying to think what other, Brad, was there anything else? Those are the big ones we talked about.
Yeah, we talked about the asbestos
abatement, which we'll talk about later here.
Okay, yeah. And that was a big part of the discussion.
Yeah.
Any other committee meetings?
Sandy, do you have anything on negotiations? Yes, negotiations. We got together tonight and with the board people that are on the committee, and we're getting to the final piece, so we should be able to present it to the EA anytime. We just got a couple tweaks that we discussed about, and then Tim will send it off to them. What we're gonna do this time is, there's so many updates and structures, that we'll just send it off to them first, so they can just see.
Yeah, and I think it's important that people know a little bit about the process, because it's taken quite a while,
Right.
but there's a good reason for that. Because you couldn't just send the entire contract to MSBA and ask them to adjust the language.
Nope, they don't do that anymore. They used to do it, but they don't do it anymore. You're only allowed to send them little pieces. So,
And then you have to wait for a few days.
you gotta wait, but I
for
mean,
each.
so then I reached out to other people and places where I could get more information, and found out that we needed to update our statutes, some of our laws in there that haven't been done for at least 2-3 contracts. So, and they're simple ones. It's nothing real big. It's just simple language changes that will help both parties. So everything in there is a little cleaner and more clarified for both sides, not just one side or the other. It'll be nice when it's done. I mean, I think it should be nice and clear and clarified, so there shouldn't have to be any questions in the end. So worked with the MSBA and another superintendent that I know, and did some of my own research, and us three worked on it, and we hopefully will be able to present it or send it off to the EA. So it's better if we send it to them because there's so many cross-offs and changes in the wording that we could spend an hour and a half going over what they can see. So it's probably going to be easier if we can just send it off to them and they can digest it.
So I'll be
ahead of
sending
time.
that off to them
Yep.
this week.
Yep. So our meeting was very good tonight, and yeah, there's just a couple little tweaks that we got to change on it, and then yeah, I'll go home tonight and finish that and tweak it, and then send it to Tim.
I hope that gets passed. You've put a lot of time and effort into that. I know.
Yeah, it's okay. It's all right. I want it to be fair for everybody.
Certainly.
And I want the language to be fair for everybody, so nobody has to worry about this, that, or the other, or the he, shalls, we, wills. You know, it's just, it'll be nice and, I think, clarified more in the end than it has been in the past. So, hopefully they'll appreciate it and like it. I know. It'll be fine.
Thank you, Randy. Any other comments on committee meetings? All right, we'll transition into our new business. I'd like to welcome Mr. Jim Lindahl, who is a Senior Project Manager for Institute for Environmental Assessment. Will address the board regarding estimated versus actual abatement costs associated to the referendum project. And we will follow that with a little discussion and questions.
Okay, so you need me to come up there, or?
It would probably be better just so the people online can hear you.
Okay. Well, thanks for having me. I realize our things have gone over budget. There's been issues. Some of the things, this is a chart from 2024 that I originally went off of, and it's in the district records. It's based on the HERA requirements for asbestos. It's 15 pages, so I didn't copy it out for everybody, but one of the things, we've got multiple areas of flooring. I just showed a couple board members the hallway out here that you can sample 3 different places, and there's a section of hallway that has 9 by 9 under the 12 by 12 inch where none of the rest of it did. So there's a lot of hidden concerns. The wrestling room in this building, when I was doing the front end on that, I pulled down the pads, and there was ceramic wall tile all around there that happened to have an asbestos mortar. There was no record of that. So this, going off of this was kind of an estimate, and the same thing for Bird Island. Now, Bird Island, the demolition, I handled the Clarkfield School building demolition. I don't know if anybody's familiar with that. It happened in Yellow Medicine County. I think it was 2019, 18, 19, somewhere in there. It's fairly similar structure, you know, and that came in pretty much right on budget. I've been doing this for 35 years, so I feel bad that we missed some things. Some of the information that I got was not clear enough. You know, if I didn't ask the right questions, that might have been, or it wasn't presented to me. One of the other things was the transition within the district. I started working with Denny Spielman. I don't know if anybody remembers him, Buildings and Grounds. Denny was a great help. He was an asset. He had building information. After he left, I was pretty much in a void. I did work with Superintendent Jim, but it was he was hard to contact and get back. He didn't get back to me very often. I've been working with Nexus, and their site people have been quite good for answering questions or giving me direction. But just some of the front end information that we got, I don't think was all the information I needed. So, including, like I said, with these reports. Now, this is the Olivia School building. There is no mention in here of any ceramic tile anywhere. And you have it in the bathrooms, the entries, the flooring in the north entries, the bathrooms down here, and they're all different. The bathrooms at the bottom there of the elementary wing had ceramic tiles. Some of it came back as asbestos, some didn't. A lot of things were added. One of the big ads for this building was the D-wing demolition, which I didn't have originally spec'd, and I can hand this out to you. I don't know if you want to just pass them around. This outlines our proposals, and in our proposals, we identify what the proposal is going to cover. I didn't have anything for D-wing because I didn't have timelines for it. And we needed to have, the bid went out early for last year work because we were doing work in early May. We were starting early, the school was out early, so we were trying to get a jump on things, get good pricing, which did, but then the D-wing was presented and we didn't have it bid into our original contract work. Now, we did have items, hourly rates provided in the bids, so that's what we based it on, which during the midsummer, they were actually pretty competitive numbers. So I think overall, the cost was, equivalent, but it just wasn't originally bid or identified in the bids. So if you go on the second page, there's several items that are listed as add items. The west hallway, there was nothing identified on the demolition prints for the flooring. That got added in. The ceilings, I sampled the ceiling tiles and adhesives in the, outside of, I forget which room, but it was more in the north half. Came up that in the south half, those adhesive pucks, the ceilings were almost identical, or were basically identical, one by one ceiling tile with a pegboard pattern. You couldn't tell any difference until all the ceilings were down. There was a little bit of fading difference because the south wing had been exposed more for a longer period before the new ceilings went in. But when you're working above a ceiling with flashlights, you couldn't tell. But that south half of that wing happened to have positive adhesive pucks, which had to be taken down because of the sprinkler code and fire code. So there's a lot of these things that we run into that until it gets exposed during the actual renovation work or demolition work. When we go in and sample, the buildings are occupied. So we try to be as inconspicuous as we can without making a trip hazard or a health hazard or whatever. Sampling ceramic tile, very difficult because like in the locker rooms, the shower areas, you can't leave exposed break in your ceramic tiles. So they're difficult to sample like that. So there's a couple things, we try and do our best, but obviously a few things get missed. And that's, I don't want to say it's a great excuse, but these old buildings with additions, things get covered up. You open a wall up, there's a whole different wall. And that happened, I know, there was a couple different scenarios in D-Wing here where that was the case. There was actually 2 or 3 wall systems in place. So you can look at one and you think you're looking at what's there, but there's a whole different world behind that one too. So those are some of the things that happened. Bird Island, another example. I sampled every, on the first floor in the demolition building, the elementary rooms there, I sampled every room for the flooring. Well, when they were doing the demolition, or the abatement actually, the guys went in there, and because some of the rain that had come through the roof and whatever the damage, they identified some black mastic underneath the existing flooring that was actually the original mastic. It hadn't been properly abated, but it was streaky and scattered, but it had to be addressed. The demolition contractors won't, because they grind most of their concrete after the fact, they can't do that with any shreds of asbestos on there. So there's a lot of these small things, and I don't want to not always good things to miss, but they're hidden. That's all I can say for some of the things. Like I said, a couple of the directions I got may not have been exact, and I could have pursued more directly, but sometimes we're down to timelines. We require notifications that are 10 days prior to start of work, after, so once we get the jobs designed, get the bids, get it confirmed, these guys have to notify, and if our timeline doesn't work, the abatement doesn't start, so, and the abatement has to happen before any other renovation even moves. So it's critical timelines. So some things get crunched, and then it's just, again, some things don't get fit in there properly. So I guess that's kind of a quick summary of what my experience has been with this project. I'll be willing to take some questions.
So, Jim, you mentioned.
Excuse me, I'm kind of like Greg.
Yep.
In the tail end of a cold here.
When you're ready. So, you mentioned with the Clarkfield School, it pretty much hit on budget.
Yeah, we were very close.
But from your experience, how many abatement projects hit on budget or end up going over because of the hidden things?
Going over is quite common, but usually it's within 10%. So this, our numbers aren't exactly
in the 10%.
But again, like the chalkboards I think are mentioned in there for the West Wing. We had them in our bid form, but we didn't know that if the adhesives were positive or not. So in order to sample a chalkboard, you basically had to hammer it, and then you got a very sharp, ragged edge in a classroom. And some teachers really, they don't want their boards destroyed or damaged at all, and you don't want to have that risk. So we put them in there as a unit price. So it wasn't in the base bid, but it was performed under the bid. It was actually part of the bid process as a unit price. So we did fit many things in, and we had hourly rates built in, but some of the things that weren't in the original bid documents, they get bid on the hourly rate then.
With that chalkboard as an example, excuse me, how come we don't take a core sample of that?
Have you ever cored a slate board?
Well, it's not my job. Anybody, if you guys all built a school or remodeled the school, we're relying on you to do this to get us the best information possible.
You can't core a slate board. Basically,
the only option is to bust it.
Pretty much. Because they're installed usually in two different ways. Well, three different. Sometimes they're wood framed in, and they are adhered into the structure then, and you don't always see an adhesive behind there. But there's almost always an adhesive behind the board. Sometimes it's troweled or it's pucks. Like they just throw a wad up there and smash it in to hold it. And then they put some perimeter guides on it also. But if you touch concrete or chalkboard, if you try and drill through it, you could shatter a corner. And these pucks are randomly located, so you'd have to put maybe 30 holes in before you hit one. There's no pattern. I don't know how SU would do it.
So, excuse me, my cold's kicking in. Looking at page 2, it's roughly 225,000, 230, somewhere in there, of ads.
319.
Okay, thank you.
219. 319.
319. Oh, 319. Thank you. 319.
No, 219.
219.
219.
And right now we're tracking at about 1.1 million. The original bid was at $500,000.
Yep.
So that still shows us over by $375,000.
Right.
And I think that's the biggest reason we wanted you to come in and just talk to that. And I appreciate you bringing the things that you've run into of why we've gotten to where we are. But And I think the biggest thing I wanted is just for the community to hear this from you as well. One thing I do want to mention is that this summer we still have abatement yet to be completed.
Correct. For the spring and summer of 2026.
Could you speak to that just a little bit?
Yes, and I was out here earlier this afternoon doing some confirmation review for what is planned for the work. It's mostly up by concessions, restrooms, locker rooms. And then we've got mechanical room down here. There's some piping scattered around up by the band rooms and some mechanical rooms over there. The estimates, I provided Nicole with Nexus some preliminary numbers on this. I'm gonna rerun what I found from the day to verify, just to make sure the dates and manpower that my estimates are gonna work. Because they provided me some scheduled dates that we could start one area in March and then some, I think the locker rooms in May, but like this band room and the restrooms can't go till after school's out. The concession, I think she was looking at maybe possibly April, that area somewhere. And that's mostly just flooring. But there is now, today, I just was up looking in these bathrooms and apparently the mechanical guys poked a hole in the plaster in the bathroom up there. So I was able to peek above the ceiling because all these hardwood rooms, bathrooms, locker rooms, some mechanical rooms have hardwood ceilings, they're plaster. Or even sheetrock, but with no openings, no access panels. But I was able to peek up there. Now there's like 30 feet of pipe that we had no idea was up there. It's an old steam line, which I'll have to talk with Nexus on what our access and timelines are on that. So there's a few things, like now these locker rooms, the chases in the showers, there's no access panels. So I'm assuming there's pipe insulation in there, but do we want to bid it as that and then not have it? That's a concern I have if I assume that it's there without knowing directly, and then there is no pipe insulation. It's already in contract. Unless you do a deduct add amount, which that gets a little fluctuating sometimes. They'll bid in their favor on that too. But that's an issue that I'm looking at right now with the locker rooms and the restrooms. None of them have visible chases or an access panel.
So Jim, when I'm looking at the costs, you probably have around, I'm gonna guess 10-15% of the costs are the physical disposal of the material. Something.
Disposal is probably 5%.
5%.
Yeah.
So the bulk
depends on what the material you're baiting is. Floor tile goes in barrels. This ducting over here, we're going to probably cut out the whole duct system, the fan unit, and so you're going to have bigger things. That would be just a little more. But the dumpsters aren't a huge deal. Usually you're looking like this spring work will probably get maybe 2 boxes at the most, so that's $2,000.
So the bulk of the cost.
It's labor.
It's labor, right?
Yeah.
So how are we balancing overtime with regular hours to keep the costs down on abatement? I guess that's my question.
Yeah, generally we try to make sure that all the extra abatement or these ad work was done in the standard rate. There was a few times where, because of the summer crunch, the contractor requested a select area to be finished just because their timelines were crunching. And as I indicated, we're the first in line. It has to be removed before they can do any disturbance. So it's kind of, we respond to those requests.
Yep.
But we try and minimize that at the most. That's obviously, that's an easy sidestep to take care of.
Thank you.
For the most part.
Yep. So the budget number was $500,000. Is that a number that your company provided?
some of the, well, yeah, these proposed amounts on this page, the front page, were, I put the.
Well, I'm looking at
Well, not all those were proposed. Some of it's but these proposed amounts were all numbers that I provided.
okay, so the sheet we have here is not matching up with the budget we have there.
Not totally. I know what, I noticed one of the things missing, Bird Island Stage was done separate. That's not listed on here. That was requested for, I don't know if it was a show presentation, something needed to be done, a dance show or something. That stage needed to be done in a certain timeline. So what we did, same contractor that was doing the boiler room provided that service at, they gave me a quoted price based on the hours, and we went ahead with it. And Denny, I've got an email discussion with Denny and Nicole. Everybody was aware of it.
So, not everybody, okay?
Well,
Not
okay,
everybody
okay,
was
no,
aware of it.
No, but, and I'm sorry, but those
The people
were,
that
those were
wrote,
my
the
contacts.
people that have to write the checks
Right.
are not aware of it.
But those were my
And those are
contacts.
the taxpayers. So I'm just saying that your budget is one, your overage is here, the in-between time has not been communicated with the board, because there's methods, there's really three professionals here. Your company, Nexus, Baker Tilly. All have different responsibilities,
Obligations, sure.
but the communication is lacking, so now the board, we're all hit with these information after the fact, not before. So before, we could manage it better.
Okay.
After, just like you went out and bought a new car, oh, it's gonna be 20,000. Well, after the fact, you find out it's 120. Well, it's hard to manage that way, right?
Sure.
So the communication between the three, in my opinion, is just totally almost irresponsible. Because at some point, we could have made better choices. There's ways to, there's a health and safety thing we can do to help, but not, you can't do it hindsight. You have to do it proactively. So that's, at least that's my frustration, that your numbers are terrible, and the communication is about the same.
And that could be obviously part of the problem. Like I said, I started with Denny, thinking that was my contact with the district. Then I went to Jim. Then now it's with Tim, because we contract with the district directly.
Right.
Nexus has been kind of a link between there, and they're aware of what's going on. I copy them on everything that we're doing. So, but I don't always get response for everything. I don't know. I guess one of the things, as far as abatement's a little different than some of the general work because of the obligations or the requirements of the regulations. Say if we're doing this area of just this little area of the library here, the media, and we're taking up the flooring, and then we decide, okay, we need to do this section too. Well, we're tied, because of the requirements of the enclosure, you just extend it. If you move from an area and then go back in, you're gonna be recreating the enclosure system, the employee decontamination system. There's a lot of hourly rates that increase significantly. So a lot of the stuff is done on, we have to make the decision within the day. So that's a difficult thing. The material's there and it needs to go away. I don't know if we, if you want me to call it, I can call Tim every time this happens, but is that where the direction you want me to do?
I understand for small amounts, but we're not talking with a small amount here.
No, but so Bird Island, those rooms that got added, we were doing, they enclosed that whole first floor level as one enclosure. And we were going and we were actually doing ceiling work in there anyways. So by adding them into the enclosure, the flooring work, the flooring abatement, that was some of the ad work, it's a no-brainer. I don't know how else we could
Well, I'm not,
reasonably do it.
I'm not saying you don't have to get rid of the asbestos. I'm more frustrated with the lack of communication about the total dollar had to be spent.
Okay.
Because somebody's gotta pay for it, because
Great.
I assume you're
understand
not
that.
paying for it.
I understand that. No, I can get that, and like I said, some of this was missed from the get-go. There was miscommunication. I think I identified that from the onset. And, you know, maybe I should have asked more questions. That's, you know, I can proceed with that.
Yeah,
But I wasn't getting responses real well either.
The main concern is just the cost versus the estimate.
Right.
That's why we asked you here to explain that, and that's what you've been doing, so thank you. It's just a hard pill to swallow because it's
I understand
more
that.
than double.
Yeah, I do understand it, but, and I hope some of the examples that I gave, you know, it's not exact science, but, these older buildings, they're, you know, stuff just shows up in an unknown place there's no previous record of it. What do we do?
One last question for you. So for summer, I think the last estimate I saw was we were at 74,000. It got increased to 174.
This coming year?
For the summer, it was at 74. Now it's been increased to 174. Total, that was abatement and site management combined is kind of the number we're seeing. Is that seem in line with?
So we have it broke out by year, and this is what Greg's referring to.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that.
Okay, yeah, yep, I think that's correct.
Does that still seem realistic for what you saw today?
It's gonna be close. Like I said, I have to talk with Nexus and get some hard timelines on how they actually want to schedule it and see number of trips out. You know, all that plays into the cost effectiveness and what the actual costs are to the contractor and our costs, you know, for being on site. So if we can fit it in as kind of a continuous flow, that works better. But if we have multiple trips, then that, you know, there may be some little increases in that. But I think it's pretty close. You know, it's going to be, there's about 4 weeks of work left for the abatement. So as long as it can be scheduled properly.
Okay.
So.
With that, is there any other pertinent questions? Otherwise, I'd like to probably just end our discussion at this point. Or any other questions?
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I do appreciate you being here today, Jim. As a board.
Oh, geez, yes.
I don't want to walk off with it. This one I got from Amy, I believe.
Yeah.
And then that was the one you gave me, which didn't work in none of the doors that I needed.
We got 2 master keys, an old one and a new one.
I guess with that, is there any further discussion the board would like to have around this topic while we are on it?
As a board member, I feel like I've been irresponsible, but only to the fact that I didn't know about any of the overcharges that were happening. And I'm representing our taxpayers. And I feel that responsibility to have known that. And like Brad had said, there wasn't that communication.
I mean, I don't know if the communication even hit the facilities committee.
It really wasn't something that I really noticed until, Todd, when do you remember? Late last year, before we really started
It goes
showing.
back to where we don't remodel schools for a living. We don't do this for a living. This is the kind of stuff that needs to be getting taught by somebody.
Well, I kind of get both sides. I get our side where we're kind of stuck with this bill, but as a contractor, when you go and you bid a job, you never know what you're getting into. You can give a rough estimate and a big enough estimate to guess what you're gonna end up for a bid. But in all reality, all the issues we've had with the school here, we didn't know ourselves what we were getting into when this all happened. I mean, as a contractor, yeah, you say they're supposed to know, but I go through this every day with contractors that come in, and you don't know until you get into the project. You never know. And it's not always on them either that, well, if they knew, they'd be rich. I mean, millionaires, if you could guess and know exactly everything that's gonna happen when you get into a project that you can't see what's behind it, what's inside of it, what's behind things. And I get that point of it, but I also get the point that we all as a board in the past, we have let things go also with past administration that we trusted to follow through on these things too. And like he said, it wasn't being done there either. So is it their fault? Is it our fault? I believe it's both sides. I truly believe that it's both faults on both the side of our administration here, and maybe they could have bid it a little higher, maybe, whatever, but I guess I get both sides.
We've got our frustration now, but we still need to look at being accountable
Right,
to
and
pay our bill.
the gentleman here, I've been doing this for 35 years. Well, it's been removing asbestos from old buildings for 35 years. You should be closer than, well, I'm only 75% off.
Correct, and I do agree with that, but.
Well, I wouldn't be too hard on yourselves. I don't think we should be too hard on ourselves. As of a couple months ago, we were still on budget. There was a facilities committee meeting where it showed a little over 600,000, which is a little bit over budget. You know, we're getting concerned. And then it was 7, 8, 9, 1.1 million. Like it went really fast, and we didn't. So it's not like we were just not paying attention. It just that it looked like we were on budget. Bird Island was done, you know, or almost done, and then all of a sudden we got all these bills, and it just racked up really fast.
Yeah, and the other thing we have to remember is we have increased the budget for this up year to make sure we are covered in the costs. So that's reflected in this number of overage at this point. Correct. It's not actual. We had to remember that. That's part of it. And then when you throw in 127,000 for an area that was not in scope, that was our fault because it wasn't communicated to him, right? Initially by the who should have communicated it. So as Sandy mentioned, it's both sides. And I've been on the side too of outside of the school district doing asbestos abatement on a building projects, and it is there's a lot of unknown with it on what's found that you don't expect. And so I've been there, done it outside too, and even though you do your best to estimate, there is a lot of unknowns that are hidden. So
yeah, like you said, until you tear that wall open, if you're just spot checking here and there, you don't necessarily know where it is.
Yeah,
you can miss it by 6 inches and not see it.
And in the end, we're still looking to be on track from an overall financial perspective on the building bond project. And the downside of the extra asbestos abatement, it's an opportunity cost to us of something else we maybe could have done and added in and given to the community, but we also have that legal responsibility for proper asbestos abatement and disposal that we're obligated to by
the health and
statute.
safety of everyone.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Correct. So
Right. Any more discussion? Any more discussion? All right, hearing no more discussion, we'll move on to the next item, which is an annual approval requirement of Mary Ella Klaus as a substitute teacher under Minnesota statute 123.b.195.
I'll make a motion.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All right. Motion was made by Member Osses and seconded by Member Benson to approve Mary Ella Klaus for continue as a substitute teacher. Any discussion?
I really enjoy subbing, even though I'm on the school board. There's two sides to where I'm at. It's the business side of the school board, but there's also the education of our students. And I love being in the building, helping them learn, helping them grow.
You can tell, because you're always happy.
I like teaching.
You must
It's my
be
passion.
liking it. Yeah.
I'm retired, but I'm still passionate about teaching.
You
Good
wouldn't
for you.
know it.
Yeah, thanks for stepping up.
Yeah.
This is an annual review, and I found that out at a clerk training that I did a couple weeks ago. I cannot earn more than $20,000 in the year. And that would, if I was to do that, it would have to come back to the board again.
Makes sense.
Which we knew that.
It should be.
Yeah.
But it needs
That
to be
was-
approved.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any other discussion? Hearing no more discussion, I'd like to let's see.
We need to vote on the motion.
Yes.
I will abstain.
Yes, thank you. We'd like to vote on the motion. All in favor of approving Mary Ella to continue as substitute teaching, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries.
And you have to announce her
Oh,
abstention.
thank you. Thank you, Todd.
Point of order.
And Mary Ella is abstaining from the vote. Motion passes. Thank you for that clarification, Todd.
Yeah.
Let's see, resolution for approval of spring 3-act play. Would a member like to approve the production of a spring 3-act play?
I so move.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All right, so resolution was moved by Member Klaus and seconded by Member Zimmerman to approve a spring 3-act play. Tim, would you like to share some specifics on this for us?
Yeah, sure.
I'm putting you on the spot.
Well, I asked Deb if she'd be here, and I can see Ross is here, so that's great, because I don't know all the details. But generally, yeah, like I said in my superintendent's report, piggybacking on the momentum of this program that's been growing and achieving more and more each year, Deb's willing to, well, I guess we have to post the job and all that, but the kids are very excited about the possibility of a spring production, and we found one that's relatively low budget. I don't know, Deb, maybe you can speak to, or we don't want to say what it is, though.
Oh, you can, it's fine.
Oh.
Deb, you're welcome to come on up here. And I apologize for putting you on the spot, but it
That's
would
okay,
be
I
nice
don't
to hear
mind.
from
I've
you.
been on stage a few times. I can come up and talk to you.
Yeah.
I have between 14 and 18 students interested. That's quite a big group considering when I started in 2013, we had 8 students. And we're looking to do a play called Leaving Iowa. It's kind of National Lampoon's Family Vacation meets 1970s nostalgia. It's about a family that goes to spread their father's ashes in Iowa, and it's about all their road trips that they took during their youth, is all their memories, and each of those memories comes to life on stage. They talk about the big ball of twine, so apparently that's a big thing is that Darwin? I don't know.
Yeah.
But anyhow, so there's a lot of nostalgia. It's a really good play. The kids are very interested in it. We've been doing some workshops trying to get a feel for how many students we're going to have, learning all about auditions for fall, and kind of throwing in a few things that might lead us into this if it's approved. And so we're super excited for that. We have a good staff that's on board and willing to help out. And I'm super excited for the students. By having this spring play, it makes us a year-round theater program, which is very interesting. It's very enticing for parents and families that might want to bring their children into the district that are very artsy and like to do those things year-round. I think it also gives some other students that can't do the fall musical an opportunity to do another theater project in the spring if they aren't in a sport at that time. So I know there are a few students that can't do fall musical because they might be in football or volleyball. So this gives them an opportunity to hop into a theater activity as well for the year. So we're hoping that it's approved and that we can finally say we are a full year program, and I think it's very important to the students to keep going. Before we're even done with the project, they are begging to know what the next big thing is, how they can learn more, how they can grow, mostly how they can grow, how they can take the next step into something bigger and something that might give them more opportunities later on. So that's why we thought maybe we could do spring play. I did them in high school, and I'm super excited for the students that are involved, and I hope it's a good thing for them. So.
Of the group of students interested, are they all from Bold or some from the neighboring districts in the co-op?
I thought all of my students were from Bold, but I had one that recently, she used to go to Bold, but she doesn't anymore. She's now BLH. So I have one from there that is interested, so that might be a little bit of a hurdle for us to figure out how to get her over here. But yes, and also it wasn't formally sent out to any other schools because obviously we needed to bring it here first.
Correct.
And so we have been tossing around the idea and asking around for interest for other students, and it looks like I have one for sure, possibly. If it was advertised to other schools, there might be more. I would say BLH more so than RCW because we haven't tapped into their students as well as we can, and that's something that we're looking to do into the future, is bring some of our students over there and start getting them more involved and giving them a better understanding of our program.
So as far as for coaching, what do you need for coaches, or are you looking for?
As far as stipend or?
Well, no, would it be just yourself? Would there be more than yourself? Would there be a team? I guess
It would be myself and an assistant director.
Okay. And then as far as any additional cost that you're thinking that the district may incur?
That's a little bit tricky this first year. We were fortunate because we wrote our own one-act play. There was no licensing fee for us. Usually that's a $500 to $1,000 fee, so that we have saved. So we're hoping to maybe tap into that remainder to help us cover the licensing fee for this show. I couldn't write them back to back, so I had to rely on somebody else for this. So we're hoping to tap into that to cover the licensing portion of the fees, and then perhaps going forward, we might need help with the licensing fees for that. But otherwise, I would assume that boosters can help like we normally do with our portion of our other needs as well.
And I would assume you would have admission costs to the performances.
We would, yes.
And there was one other
concessions, I assume as well.
Concessions actually goes to the booster groups that do them. That doesn't come back to the school, if you recall. Okay. But yes, we would be willing to help kick in whatever is needed.
Oh, I know. Activity fees.
Yes, the activities
I knew there was
fees.
another
Yes.
main income.
Yes.
Okay.
So the activities fees and we are hoping to do 3 shows. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, May 7th, 8th, and 9th. We would not do a Sunday matinee because that's Mother's Day. We really don't want to tap into that day too much and take away from moms. So we would do Thursday, which is the new Theater Friday. So Thursday, Friday, Saturday, all 7 o'clock shows. So, and it's very family friendly. So it's a good opportunity for younger students to come in and take a look at the program and have something to look forward to when they maybe get a little bit older, and maybe they can audition for theater as well. We need to grow the program. I have a lot of seniors leaving me. This year I have 7, so You need to
And
start
how many do you have roughly interested?
in this between 14 and 18. I have 14 that are solid yes, and then I have 4 others that are checking on parent schedules and their schedules.
I really like the idea of a year-round theater program for our
Yeah.
students.
Yeah, it's amazing the loss of sense of family that they have when they're not in theater. So we're a pretty close group, and they rely on a lot of their time with us to fill a void. So that's nice.
And I know the caliber of the programs that you've offered, the plays and stuff, very comparable to going down to the Chanhassen.
That's very
Could
kind
be
of you
on-
to say.
could be on
That's really
stage
nice.
out there.
We've both has a lot of talent in so many different areas. It's amazing to see what these students, what you can pull out of them if they're encouraged. So, and get over their stage fright. So, which is a good skill. It's a great life skill. So, yeah.
Any other questions? Thank you so much, Dan.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there any more discussion as a board? Any more discussion? Hearing no more discussion, we'll vote via roll call on the approval of adding a spring 3-act play. Member Frank.
Aye.
Member Asa.
Aye.
Member Zimmerman.
Aye.
Member Benson.
Aye.
Member Klaus.
Aye.
Member Sheehan.
Aye.
And I am an aye as well. So we have a motion, all in favor. Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Moving on to some of our policies. Third and final reading of policy 722, public data and data subject requests.
I move to approve policy 722 and 722.1 as published in the board packet.
Okay.
I'll second that.
All right. Motion was moved by member Frank and second by member Aseth to approve policy 722 and form 722.1. Is there any questions or any discussion? Any discussion? Hearing no discussion, we'll go ahead and vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Third and final reading of policy 802. Would the member move to approve policy 802 revisions as presented in the board packet?
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All right, motion was made by member Aseth and seconded by member Klaus to approve policy 802 as presented in the board packet. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll go ahead and vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carried. All right, so as I mentioned earlier, with policies that have a one and done reading, I'm going to be lumping those together.
So I move to approve the first and final readings of policies 208, development, adoption, and implementation of policies, 209, code of ethics, 401, equal employment opportunity, 418, drug-free workplace / drug-free school, 427, which is workload limits for certain SPED teachers, and policy 798, donations for negative student food service accounts, as published in the board packet.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right, member Frank moved and member Zimmerman seconded the approval of these policies as presented in the board packet. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion?
I'll just point out the specifics on each one is listed in the description and all very minor changes, and per our policy of policies, we can approve these in one reading with the minor changes.
all these policies were legislative updates that happened in February, and there are more coming, but this is as far as we got with the policies right now.
I think there was like 30,
17 easy ones, and then there's the other ones.
And then there's probably about 8 that had more substantial changes.
Well, thank you both for going through and doing all that. Any further discussion? Hearing no more discussion, we'll go ahead and vote. All in favor of approving these 6 policies, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. All right, so now we're moving on to the second reading of policy 616. Member Klaus, would you like to speak to this at all?
Same as last time. This was approved in 2024 and it had a revision date on October 15th. So with Tim being new, we want to make sure you have time to look that over. So admin, look that over, see if there's anything that we need changes. It was more just removing outdated language.
Any questions? All right, so this is just our second reading. Next month we will be approving that, assuming all goes well. Second of 3 readings of policy 621, literacy in the READ Act. Member Klaus, would you like to share anything on this one?
Basically what I stated last time, this is a new policy for BOLD. It's been in with MSBA, we just didn't have the policy. So you're seeing an original from MSBA.
Is there any discussion? Clarifications?
It just backs up what we're doing already and putting it in policy so that it gives some documentation.
Yeah.
All right.
Good.
All right, first of 3 readings of policy 211, criminal and civil action against school district, school board member, employee, or student. I'm not sure who was championing this one.
I was actually.
All
So
right.
this is going to be a completely new policy, but we're starting, we've about gotten through that 3-year cycle of all the other policies. So we're starting to look at, as a policy committee, ones that we don't have in effect but are crucial to put into effect and discuss and approve as a board. And this would be the start of that with 211. And so, yeah, it's going to need the 3 readings, and we're looking at a April adoption. So this is the first time everyone's seen it. So, and it's a new policy. So if you have any questions or suggestions, we need to work through those because it's such a new policy to us. It's not a new one to school boards as a whole, but it is to us.
All right, thank you, Todd. If you have anything, please forward it on to Todd if you have any concerns. Next, we have first of 3 readings of policy 306, Minnesota Code of Ethics. Oh wait, no, yeah, sorry. I'm just looking at it, I thought I'd jump through my notes. Member Frank, do you have anything you'd like to share on this one?
It's in the description. We last adopted it in June 24th of 2024 using a 2002 revision. MSBA, MASA, last October put out some suggested revisions, which are substantial enough that we'll go through 3 readings on this and also potentially be adopting at our April 27th meeting.
All right.
It's a red line, so you can see the red lines as you look at the policy.
All right, moving on. First of 3 readings of policy 606, textbooks and instructional materials.
I believe I did that one. If there's a substantial addition, if you look at section 5, that whole section was added. So, and there was a couple other changes in the legal references at the bottom. It'll require 3 readings.
Any questions or discussion? All right, hearing none, we'll move on to the first of three readings of policy 712, video recording other than on buses. This is a new policy of the Bold District. It will require 3 readings. Anything anybody would like to add to that?
Similar to what we talked about with policy 211. One that we're adding in that we don't have, that we should have probably been implemented years ago, but that's one we gotta have in place.
All right. Resolution to approve a music department burger bar fundraiser plan for Thursday, February 26th from 5 to 7 p.m. at the American Legion to support a junior-senior music trip to Walt Disney World.
I'll make the motion.
All right, we have a motion by member Oseth and
I'll
seconded
second.
by member Benson. So, resolution moved by member Oseth, seconded by member Benson to approve the music department fundraiser as mentioned. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? We'll take a roll call vote on member Frank.
Aye.
Member Oseth.
Aye.
Member Zimmerman.
Aye.
Member Benson.
Aye.
Member Klaus.
Aye.
Member Sheehan.
Aye.
And I am a yes as well. Motion carries, all in favor. Resolution for acceptance of gifts. Now I will be reading this one. And where appropriate, members, please fill in a name, please. So, member
Benson.
Member Zimmerman introduced the following resolution and moved its adoption. Whereas Bird Island Lions Club has generously donated $1,000 to the Bold Robotics team, whereas the Olivia Kiwanis Club has generously donated $100 to the Bold Robotics team, whereas the Olivia Lions Club has generously donated $150 to the Bold Robotics team. Therefore, be it resolved by the Bird Island Olivia Lake Lillian Public School District 2534-01 Board to gratefully accept these gifts. The motion for adoption of the foregoing resolution was duly seconded by member
Klaus.
Klaus. And upon vote being taken, therefore, the following voted in favor: member Sheehan.
Aye.
Member Klaus.
Aye.
Member Benson.
Aye.
Member Frank.
Aye.
Member Oseth.
Aye.
Member Zimmerman.
Aye.
And I am an aye as well, so motion carries. Thank you so much for those wonderful donations to the robotics program. All right, upcoming dates. March 23rd, regular school board meeting here in the Media Center, 7 p.m. And then April 27th, 2026, regular school board meeting here at 7 p.m. in the Media Center. With that, we've reached the end of our new business. Would a member move to adjourn the meeting?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you, member Frank, for motioning or moving, and Sandy for seconding adjournment. Meeting is adjourned at 8:37.